Captain Paul for the Locker Room here. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. The Colorado Avalanche just gave the Montreal Canadiens the beatdown of their life. 8-4 win for them, but let's get into the story itself. Colorado Avalanche are now in third place in the Central Division. 65 games played, 37 wins, 22 losses, 6 overtime losses for 80 points. They are only 5 points back of first place in the Central Division and have a game in hand of Dallas and 2 games in hand on Minnesota. So it's really not far-fetched to say this. Colorado could finish as the #1 seed in the Central Division. And what makes this team just so utterly dangerous is Nathan MacKinnon, who has 81 points on the season with 29 goals, 52 assists, is at a 1.50 point per game clip. If he was to play a full season, he would have 120 plus points. Now, he's been a little nicked up due to injuries, has only played 53 games. He has been phenomenal. He is a superstar. I know we get lost in the McDavid talk, and for good reason. What McDavid is doing historic. MacKinnon is also having a great season as well, so let's not forget that. And then Mikko Rantanen has really developed into a well-rounded player and become a prolific goal scorer with 43 goals on this season. And when you have a second line with Nichushkin, Lehkonen, and Comper, they're going to give you consistent score. Like Nichushkin has 32 points in 35 games played, nearly a point per game player on your second line. When it comes to offensive output, the only team in the Western Conference I view as better would be the Edmonton Oilers. But they also have some really good defense. Devin Taves, Cale Makar, Bowen Byram, very good D-man with some offensive upside, but most importantly, they are good in their own end and they are playoff proven. They won a cup last year. They know what needs to be done if they want to raise the best trophy in sports. The one thing I do worry about is the goaltending. Alexander Georgiev, in 48 games played, has 29 wins, 14 losses, 5 overtime losses for a 2.60 goals against average and around a .918 save percentage. He is living up to the potential that a lot of people saw in him with the New York Rangers organization. But I think it's safe to say he is vastly unproven when it comes to playoffs. I know people say that Darcy Kempfer was an elite goalie, and I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke to say that he was. But he made some big saves in the big moments. Sometimes it's not being the greatest goaltender in the world, it's just making the timely stops. And can Georgiev do the same thing in this playoff season coming up? That's really to be determined. But when I'm looking at this team, the offensive upside, the defensive prowess, I feel like right now they are the best team in the Western Conference. And if I'm in the Western Conference, I definitely do not want to be playing them because they are the defending Stanley Cup champs. It's going to be a hell of a series. So do I believe the Colorado Avalanche can repeat as Stanley Cup champions? Well, I will say this. I feel now that they're rounding into form and getting healthy, they are by far the best team in the Western Conference. And that is not just because they won a Stanley Cup last year, but I like the pieces that they have in place. There are some other teams like the Edmonton Oilers. The addition of Ekholm I thought was fantastic. And I would argue this, an Oilers versus Avalanche series would probably go to 6 or 7. It would be fantastic. But if I was to say who would come out of the West right now, I would lean more towards the Avalanche. I really like what I see from them. They really have the experience and the pedigree to prove to me that they can go on a deep run. But that's enough of my opinion. Who do you believe is going to come out of the Western Conference? And do you think the Colorado Avalanche can repeat as Stanley Cup champions? I'm Captain Paul. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. I will see you in the next video.
Run out as the Colorado Avalanche are 8-4 winners.